Hey guys, this is Illusion Podfic, and today we're going to be reading Who's Old Now by Lyra Bouzwavi. The summary is, "Am I your dad?" Billy shouted. Danny paused, took a deep breath in and out before turning to him. "I'm gonna need you to back up and explain. Please." Or, what happens when a 12-year-old masquerading as an adult superhero calls his guardian, an adult who can turn into a child superhero, on speakerphone in front of the Justice League? Alright, and without further ado, let's hop right into Chapter 1. It had started simply, as most complicated things did. It had started with Billy Batson, currently as Captain Marvel, opening his stupid mouth. "I know someone," he said, much to his immediate regret when Batman suddenly zeroed in on him, as well as the rest of the Justice League in the meeting room. When Batman had called a meeting, Marvel hadn't thought it would be Batman showing an extremely grainy picture of a ghost riding a motorcycle in Gotham and declaring him the newest menace to society. A mysterious being who glowed and seemed to be entirely impenetrable to attacks, until Constantine had showed up complaining and cursing, "Stupid motherfucking ghost bothering me, it's the fucking middle of the night," and performed an exorcism Batman was entirely displeased with being caught unawares, especially in his own territory. So he had come to the League, presenting this new mysterious threat that had dodged him within his own territory, and that he knew practically nothing about. The League had been lamenting their lack of knowledge of this particularly dangerous enemy before Marvel spoke up. Because Marvel, in all his 12-year-old masquerading as an adult glory, had decided to bring up the one thing, the one person he didn't want to bring up in conversation with the League. Batman narrowed his eyes. "Who?" he growled out. And Marvel, or more honestly Billy, in that situation froze, because he knew for a fact he could not lie for shit. Any misdirection would be suspicious, and he couldn't backtrack out of it without giving a reason. "And I'm actually a 12-year-old masquerading as an adult, and was previously homeless until my current guardian took me in. And whenever he transforms into Phantom, he looks like he's 14 again because he's half ghost. But he would also know the most, despite retiring from being a vigilante at 18. And doesn't want to be brought back into the fold unless it has to do with ghosts. And right now it really did have to do with ghosts. But calling his dad guardian to come help was embarrassing. And he had been silent too long, and they were all staring at him." Marvel breathed out deeply and mustered up both the courage of Achilles and the courage of Billy Batson for what was going to come. "I'll call him," he said, and brought out his communicator. "Your League communicator frequency is not to be given out, Captain," Batman rumbled dangerously. "I needed to give it, for emergencies," Marvel replied. Danny had insisted that Billy have a line to him, even as a League member, in case he needed help. "Just because you can do it without help doesn't mean you should. I'm here for you, kid." Marvel let Danny's words ring briefly through his head, words that he had been agreed with by Solomon, and dialed Danny's number into his communicator. He avoided looking up at the Leaguers staring at him, feeling their gazes burn into his head like they all had Superman's heat vision. When the line connected, he immediately began talking before Danny could get a word out. "Hey, Phantom, I'm with the League right now. A ghost was causing some trouble in Gotham a little while back, and we were wondering for general information, whatever you're willing to give," he added at the end, knowing Danny kept ghostly information close to his chest when it came to strangers. A hissing static noise erupted from the communicator, and Marvel saw the Leaguers around him jolt in surprise before the static died down into a voice. "Sure," Phantom's young static-laced voice came through. It never failed to amaze Billy at the difference in Danny and Phantom's voice. Danny was an adult with a job and paid taxes and sent Billy to school with a low but soft voice. Phantom was light and curious, a voice made to be heard over crowds and chaos. "What can I do for you?" Batman leaned closer to Marvel. When the hell did Batman get beside him? What the fuck? And spoke. "Can you identify a ghost based on the description I'm about to give you?" And what? Why was Batman pulling out the less growly, nice voice that he used for kids? Oh, the League was probably entirely under the impression Marvel had called a random kid to ask for ghost advice. Shit, how was he going to explain his way out of this one? "Yeah, sure. Anybody that had come to the mortal realm is probably one of the usual suspects," Phantom confirmed. Batman just grunted. "We had a motorcycle, and a living shadow, blonde hair, and a leather jacket. Man, I knew Johnny had gotten up to something with how he was grumbling. I thought it was just a failed attempt to get back with Kitty." "Johnny." "Yep. Johnny, 13. Delinquent extraordinaire. He didn't hurt anyone, right?" And oh, did Billy know that tone? Before Batman could reply, he was cutting off Batman. Oh gods. Marvel cut in. "You know he's not your responsibility, right?" The silence on the other end spoke multitudes. "It's not your fault what he chooses to do." "I could stop him, though. I have stopped him," Phantom grumbled. "You took a step back from that. You deserve to live your afterlife how you choose, which is why the League is asking for help. Because even if you know you can handle it, doesn't mean you should have to. There was a ringing silence in the Justice League meeting room. For the first time since he dialed Danny's number, he looked up. All of the Leaguers were staring at him with some curiosity, others intrigue, and a few with awe. It's not fair when you bring out the wisdom of Solomon. How am I supposed to win arguments like this? Phantom grumbled. With logic. Shut up. Marvel couldn't hold back what was probably a very goofy smile. He loved Dad, Danny, in the way he never treated Billy like a stupid kid. He had parents, and they died. He had foster parents, and they, along with the system, failed him. And now he had Danny, the embodiment of a guardian. So, back on subject, Phantom began. Natural portals between the infinite realms, where most ectoplasmic entities reside, are fairly rare. And most quote-unquote summoning spells don't work due to the natural interference between the realms and the living plane. Johnny probably just got lucky with the natural portal and felt like causing trouble. That being said, there have been misconceptions about ghosts. We're not inherently bad, and troublemakers are the ones that slip out the most. And given that's what most people experience, a lot of people and so-called professionals can be rather bigoted. Most of us are peaceful. We just want to live our afterlives, alright? The League was silent for once. In the event this happens again, how can we protect ourselves from malignant? Batman paused briefly. Ghosts. Magic works best. Most ghosts just want to cause mischief, not death. We already know what that feels like. And oh, the League flinched bad at the reminder that they were talking to someone who died, much less what they thought was a dead kid. The only sign of it affecting Batman was the minute tightening of his jaw that Marvel could only see with how close he was. Other than magic, like effects like a ghost or some other form of dead would be your best chance. Marvel smiled and began to talk. Thanks for sharing, Phantom. I know that wasn't easy. Phantom replied, sounding bashful. I just don't want you or anybody else to have to deal with an overshadowed Superman. I think I'd win that fight. Sure. No need to sound skeptical. I'm offended. Marvel replied in mock indignation. Yeah, okay, you'd win, Danny admitted with a amount of grudging fondness. Off topic, I've got a craving for Chinese. Can we order that tonight? Marvel grinned, a rush of mischievous glee running through him. I don't know. Can we? Shut up. When are you getting home? Danny asked. Marvel glanced up at Batman. That was all we needed Marvel for. Batman spoke. I'll finish up here and then complete a quick patrol. So less than an hour. That sound good? Marvel asked. Yep, see you soon. Love you. Phantom replied easily. Love you too, Marvel replied instinctively, and the communicator chirped as the call ended. He smiled softly and looked up. The smile quickly fell into discomfort at the fact that everyone was staring at him. Marvel looked up at Batman, who was still looming over her shoulder. Can I? His gaze flickered back over to the still staring Leakers. Go now? Superman seemed to blink out of his stupor. Oh, yeah, of course, he said. Thank you for both you and Phantom's help. And here, Superman gave him a weird look, one that was weirdly soft and full of awe. Meeting adjourned, Batman growled. If you encounter any of these ghosts, call in for an available magic user's assistance. With that, Batman gave Marvel an inscrutable look before sweeping out of the room. Marvel stood up, deliberately avoiding the eyes of the still staring Lakers. Why were they looking at him like that? So Marvel turned around casually and walked purposefully to the door. The room was still silent, and the anxiety prickled at his spine. Why were they all still looking at him? Just as he was closing the door behind him, he heard Flash speak up. I can't believe Captain Marvel is a dad. The door closed as Marvel tripped forward. He was a what? The walk to the Zeta 2 passed in a blur. Patrol and Fawcett was a haze. And he helped a cat out of a tree, helped carry a nice man's shopping bags, and stopped one mugging before he went home. When he called the wizard's name and turned back into Billy, it was like his mind was zapped back into him. He dashed up the apartment steps, the elevator never worked, and burst into the apartment, to the side of Danny laying out an array of takeout containers. Hey Billy, Am I your dad? Billy shouted. Danny paused, took a deep breath in and out before turning to him. I'm gonna need you to back up and explain. Please. It's not funny. No, it really is. Will you stop laughing? Alright, it's a little funny. Alright guys, that is the end of chapter 1 of Who's Old Now by Lyra Bouzwavi. I hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you next chapter.